Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends, Buenos dias. My thanks to the government of Spain, Sanitation and Water for All, and UNICEF for convening this important meeting. Access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene is essential for human health and for building resilience and adapting to climate change. Floods and droughts can damage wash infrastructure, contaminate water sources, and disrupt vital access. Climate-resilient wash services are vital for protecting vulnerable populations from diseases including diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, and influenza. Underinvestment in wash has left billions of people without safe drinking water, safe sanitation, basic hand-washing services, and with health facilities that lack even basic water services. This puts patients and health workers at risk for healthcare-acquired infections like sepsis, but also waterborne diseases, antimicrobial resistance, and pandemics. Smart investment and management in WASH will help to save more than 1 million lives, contribute to human rights and gender equality, and bring substantial economic returns. Making WASH services safe, available, and sustainable requires working together across sectors and borders with accountable governance, long-term planning, and accountability. Finally, I offer my deepest condolences on the passing of Catarina de Albuquerque. Her commitment and leadership will continue to inspire us to continue her work and her legacy. Muchas gracias. I thank you.
Can I mic? Hello? Oh, great. Distinguished excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, welcome back. I hope you've all had a great set of ministerial dialogues, and welcome to the closing plenary. I can't believe we've already been here for 2 days. It feels like we haven't sat down in 2 days. We've been running and rushing and talking, but I hope you've all been finding it good. And I think we're very honored that when we have our primary host back with us for our closing session, our vice president, Sara Aagesen, who I think we already know well. She was with us for a lot of yesterday, and I'm really honored that we have you back with us again for the closing plenary and then the closing session. So without further ado, we have a great panel that's going to talk about the way forward. We've just been talking about how we engage the highest level of political focus for our sector in the last ministerial dialogue, and now I think we're looking forward. So Dr. Cecilia Sharp is going from UNICEF, Director of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, is going to be moderating the panel. We have His Excellency Giuseppe Vieira, who Vice Minister of Water Security for Brazil. Welcome, sir. We have Dr. Mohamed Diatta, Coordinator of the 2026 United Nations Water Conference. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. We have Mr. Balatam, the lead for corporate service for the African Ministers' Council on Water, AMCO, and of course we have the Vice President. So we're still missing.
I don't know. Yeah, okay.
And we're about to be joined then by Mr. Chris Vehi, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Mines, Energy and Rural Electrification. With that, Cecilia, over to you, and I'm really looking forward to a great discussion on the way forward. Let's energize ourselves.
Thank you. So, thank you, Patrick, for those nice words. And I think we all are a little bit surprised, or are we here now in the closing? And is this when we are going to now summarize everything we have been talking about? So, Excellencies, distinguished delegates and their colleagues, it's been such a privilege, and it is such a privilege now to be part of this meeting, but also to moderate this last panel, which is about the Looking Forward plenary. We hope that this plenary will be a milestone and a new chapter in our collective journey. It's now time also to officially launch the high-level leaders' compacts on water security and resilience. This compact is a collective commitment and a shared hope and determination to meet the complex challenges at the intersection of water, sanitation, climate, and development. Over these past days, we have heard many of you speaking about the importance of political leadership, the urgency of breaking silos, and the need for new funding modalities and working with private sector. Our conversations have reinforced that providing access to water and sanitation is not an isolated sector task. It is a foundation for managing climate risks, sustainable development, and for dignity for every human being. The compact before us is much more than words on a paper. It is a living political pact that calls for coordinated action, bold leadership, and mutual accountability. It reminds us that human rights to water and sanitation sits at the heart of global efforts to strengthen resilience and leave no one behind. The compact is anchored in the recognition that the highest level of political leadership, such as the heads of states initiative, can drive urgent coherence and the progress we need to see. At the same time, It calls for meaningful inclusion of women, indigenous people, civil society, and private sector, ensuring solutions that are equitable and grounded in the realities on the ground and in the communities. Looking ahead, we stand before critical global processes and platforms that can help to shape our path forward. We are looking forward to the climate COP in Brazil in just a couple of weeks, and then we have the full year of preparation for the 2026 United Nations Water Conference. These forums present not only opportunities to report on progress, but they rally calls to deepen our ambition for results, acceleration, financing, and strengthening collaboration across sectors and across countries and regions. Through these milestones and many more global meetings and regional processes, this compact that we are now launching will serve as our guiding star, aligning policies, budgets, partnerships around a common vision for climate resilient and water secure development. Before I will turn to the panel, the distinguished panelists I have here, I wanted to share a short video which is displaying the countries and partners that have already endorsed the compact so far. So with this, I want to thank those of you who are here in the room or colleagues elsewhere who have signed this compact, which I believe is really a North Star for our continued collaboration. And we also want, of course, to invite more governments, head of agencies, partners, and add their voices to this commitment and sign the compact. So with this, I think it's now time for me... Surprise! to open this last panel discussion. So you already have seen our distinguished panelists here. So with this, I would like maybe to first turn to you, Vice President Aagesen. From your point of view, what is the main purpose of this high-level leaders compact for water security and resilience? And why did we decide to launch it here in Madrid? Is that a specific reason? And how can this compact help us to ensure long-term action and political commitment to water security and resilience? Over to you, Vice Minister.
So, thank you, Cecilia, and good afternoon to everyone. For me, it's really a pleasure to share this panel with my colleagues from different countries, different views, but at the end, what is very important that we are achieving here, it's a common ground, a common objective all together, how we can work together to have this water and sanitation at the center of different agendas. First, for me, it's really a pleasure to be here in this final plenary session where there is the making of the launching of this global compact, where all of us need to think about how these high-level leaders really have support in this agenda about water security and resilience. I know, and my feeling is, looking at this amazing plenary, is that these 2 days we have a good result because we have very active participation and engagement from many countries, associations, leaders, delegations, different agencies, all of us together. And here we are not just launching this compact, we are building a new phase of global cooperation where I would like to stress 3 main pillars. The first one is ambition. We need to seek for ambition. The second one will be leadership, political leadership all together. And the third and very important one is how we make an integrated action with all the agendas, as you were mentioning, Cecilia. We are talking about climate, health. We are talking about how we also put our effort in defending the more vulnerables and how we can put this at the center of the different agendas. So joining this compact for Spain it's really an honor, and we think we can share a commitment of implementation, action, deliver, reach water, sanitation and climate agenda. At the same time, we need to connect the global vision of the water with the local and the national one, because we need those connections to make things happen. And also we need to reassure that the water policies are also connected with resilient, inclusive and accountability, because we need to make the difference, and the difference can be there when we can make a good diagnosis of what is happening, and that means we need accountability of the different actions. If I may, I will switch now to Spanish. Estoy convencida que estos dos días de intercambio entre todos, no solo líderes, ministros, ministras, viceministros, asociaciones, sociedad civil en su conjunto, hemos dicho con la voz muy alta, ¿no?, que garantizar el derecho humano al agua y al saneamiento es una cuestión de políticas públicas y financiación, pero no solo por justicia, sino porque también tiene mucho que ver con alcanzar los objetivos del ODS 6, tiene que ver también con las metas de salud, de educación, de igualdad, de resiliencia, y por lo tanto este pacto lo que hace es elevar las discusiones en materia de agua y saneamiento al máximo nivel político. Es lo que buscamos, que formen una parte integral de las discusiones a nivel nacional, pero también a nivel internacional. Que se reconozca su papel central en las distintas agendas, más en un contexto en el cual en España yo creo que lo compartimos, ¿no?, en todos los países. Tenemos un gran reto por delante que se llama cambio climático, que está teniendo impactos allá donde miremos, donde los riesgos cada vez son más frecuentes y donde precisamente, como mencionaba, el problema es que los principales afectados, no sé si se escucha, sí,
Yes.
los afectados son normalmente las poblaciones más vulnerables, las mujeres, las niñas, algunas zonas rurales, y por lo tanto yo creo que este pacto lo que hace es consolidar que todos vamos a trabajar con una visión global. Y también vamos a hacer algo tan importante como priorizar la agenda del agua en otras agendas que tienen el máximo nivel de implicación, ¿no? Vemos algo que va a pasar muy pronto, el mes que viene. Nos vamos a reunir también en Belén, en Brasil. Por eso es un placer compartir este panel con el viceministro de Seguridad Hídrica de Brasil, porque primero unas palabras de enhorabuena por vuestro liderazgo y vuestra capacidad para conseguir lo que algo estoy convencida que va a ocurrir, que la cumbre de Brasil va a ser un éxito. Desde luego puedes contar seguro con España y con gran parte de los que estamos hoy aquí. Y también tenemos que elevar, vamos a decir, la conexión de esta agenda del agua con todos y cada uno de los foros donde entendemos que tenemos que discutir, hablar, compartir experiencias, dialogar, siempre desde el punto de vista de qué manera podemos colaborar y actuar unidos, ¿no? Los grandes retos requieren voces conjuntas, requieren acciones en las cuales también yo creo que este pacto lo que hace es poner en valor no solo el liderazgo de los gobiernos, que es fundamental, sino la necesidad de una participación de todos y cada uno de los actores de la sociedad civil. No vale solo con ese liderazgo político, sino que ese liderazgo político tiene que venir acompañado con una amplia participación de todos los agentes, que hoy también hay una buena muestra aquí presente. Yo creo que este pacto lleva a otro nivel las discusiones sobre agua, desde luego marca ese punto de inflexión, estos compromisos de Madrid, donde cada uno de nosotros que nos sumemos vamos a ser embajadores, ¿no? Embajadores de un pacto, vamos a servir de voces o altavoces, vamos a decir, que estemos presentes en las distintas cumbres, donde esperamos que podáis contar, por supuesto, con España, y que sea en Madrid, yo creo que no solo por dónde estamos, ¿no?, sino por lo que representa esta sala llena de voces, llena de países con circunstancias completamente distintas, necesidades diferenciadas, pero con una visión común. Yo creo que eso es maravilloso, siempre lo digo, pero creo que la colaboración y la unidad es más necesaria que nunca. El mundo internacional, las Naciones Unidas también son más necesarias que nunca, y creo que estos 2 días aquí es una forma clara de decir que sí actuamos unidos y ante grandes retos como es el caso de la agenda del agua, ¿no? Cada vez con, vamos a decir, más amenazas, vamos a seguir haciéndolo, y yo me sumo a esa voz de Cecilia para pedir que todos juntos llamemos a otros países a sumarse a este pacto, que llamemos a instituciones a sumarse a este pacto, y que espero que en muy pocos años nos volvamos a ver y podamos construir sobre todos esos avances que vamos a conseguir juntos gracias a esta sesión que hemos lanzado aquí en este pacto en Madrid. Muchísimas gracias.
So, thank you so much, Vice President, for this very inspiring speech. I think that you mentioned now that we're entering to a new phase of global collaboration with a new vision. And I think this is really something we all should bring to our hearts. You talked about that we need ambition, leadership, and integrated action. And I think these are all the messages that we all need to carry with us going forward. And then you were also acknowledging the compact as really becoming our joint shared vision, and really calling on all of us to be ambassadors for this compact. And I really thank you for that. That was the most beautiful message already in the beginning of this panel. So thank you so much for your intervention. So with this, may I turn to Minister Vieira? I think you, yes. So I wanted to, because we have been speaking so much of these platforms and processes where we need to anchor our messages and bringing this compact forward, I wanted to talk to you on Brazil, who is now hosting the COP30. It's already next month. And you have an ambitious climate agenda, obviously, and also is looking at action and implementation as priorities for the discussions in Belém. But how do you see the emerging global momentum around climate-resilient water and sanitation aligning with the targets for the Brazil COP? And also, would you see opportunities? What opportunities would you see to advance an integrated WASH agenda in the COP negotiations and the national climate commitments that you are going to speak about? Over to you. You have about 4 minutes.
Obrigado. Speak em português. Obrigado, Cecília. Agradecer a SWA pelo convite e a oportunidade dado aqui para estar aqui representando o nosso país, o Brasil, e o ministério do qual faço parte, o Ministério de Integração e de Desenvolvimento Regional. Agradecer também a Sara, vice-presidente e anfitriã aqui na Espanha, em Madrid. Boa tarde, senhoras e senhores. Eu inicialmente gostaria de fazer uma reverência, né, um reconhecimento à liderança de Catarina Albuquerque em dar foco à importância da água e do saneamento como direitos humanos das pessoas. Dizer que o primeiro contato que tive com a Catarina foi logo na estruturação do mandato do presidente Lula, em 2023, onde ela trazia ali se mostrava muito inconformada pelo fato do Brasil ter se afastado da SWA. Então, a partir desse primeiro contato, nós, do Ministério de Integração, juntamente com o Ministério da Cidade, decidimos aí fazer com que o Brasil voltasse a figurar ali como um parceiro, né, ter a SWA como um parceiro de grande importância. E também, depois disso, tive a oportunidade de conhecê-la pessoalmente no Fórum Mundial da Água, em Bali. Uma pessoa muito, sempre carinhosa e atenciosa com as necessidades do nosso país. Voltando para a pergunta, das nossas discussões nesses 2 dias, a gente ficou reforçado, né, a urgência na integração da agenda da água, saneamento e ação climática, e a necessidade de garantir mecanismos de financiamento estáveis para que todas as pessoas tenham acesso a esses direitos. Todos aqui concordamos sobre a necessidade de colocar a água no centro das discussões de mudança climática e de buscar atingir as metas dos Objetivos de Desenvolvimento Sustentável, em especial o ODS 6. E a sua relação com todos os demais ODS, pois sabemos que a água é elemento vital para a vida, saúde, segurança alimentar, segurança energética, biodiversidade e redução de desastres. E é isso que o Ministério de Integração tem advogado no Brasil. Na COP, a agenda de ação ganhou um novo significado com o espírito de mutirão global. Uma palavra que o mutirão está mobilizando ações voluntárias e colaborativas de governos, empresas, iniciativas internacionais e a sociedade civil organizada. A agenda de ação é uma oportunidade única para impulsionar os Objetivos de Desenvolvimento Sustentável, promovendo a justiça climática e combatendo as desigualdades estruturais. E, com base nesses princípios, o Brasil, por meio do Ministério de Integração e do Desenvolvimento Regional, coordena 3 planos de aceleração, que buscam colocar a água no centro das soluções, fortalecendo resiliência hídrica, transformando os debates da COP30 em resultados concretos. São 2 planos de aceleração voltados para a garantia de segurança hídrica e um voltado para a redução de risco de desastre. Esses planos serão lançados durante a COP30 e convidamos a todos a se engajarem com esse movimento. Além disso, o Brasil está liderando um esforço importante de visibilidade, a criação do quarteirão da resiliência das cidades, infraestrutura e água. O quarteirão vai interligar na COP os pavilhões das cidades, infraestrutura resiliente e água, para gerar um espaço integrado que simboliza a união das agendas urbanas e hídricas na construção de resiliência climática. Aproveito para convidá-los a participar dos eventos de alto nível que vamos organizar durante a COP30, durante os dias temáticos da água, que são 2 eventos que ocorrerão no dia 11, um evento de alto nível sobre segurança e resiliência hídrica, que conta com a participação da SWA, e onde será repercutido o Compact que estamos adotando nesse evento. E no outro evento ministerial de alto nível sobre água e ação climática. E esse encontro reunirá os ministros, organizações não governamentais e a comunidade científica para fortalecer a implantação e mobilizar recursos para garantir o acesso ao saneamento e à água para todas as pessoas, em especial aquelas em situação de maior vulnerabilidade. A SWA vai nos ajudar a enviar o convite a todos nos próximos dias. E, se vocês não puderem estar na COP em Belém, contamos com sua ajuda para engajar os ministros e ministras do meio ambiente de seus países que estarão lá para esse importante debate. Termino dizendo que o Brasil, como sede da COP, está pronto para trabalhar lado a lado com convicção de que a água no centro é o melhor caminho para garantir as estratégias de adaptação, resiliência e desenvolvimento sustentável para todos. Obrigado.
So thank you so much, Mr. Veira. Thank you for sharing about the COP preparations, of course. And we are all, I think, looking forward to the upcoming COP, and engage to get much more integrated and visible, of course, in the negotiations, but also in the sessions. And thank you for recognizing that you're engaging with the Sanitation and Water Fraud Partnership. Of course, very important for us to have your leadership in these conversations. And then again, really nice to hear about the 11 November being the Water Day, and that the compact actually can be brought to those discussions and influence. This is, I think, exactly what we wanted to hear. So thank you so much. So may I now turn to Dr. Diata. We have just heard from Basil on the opportunities to get footprints of this high-level leaders compact in the COP negotiations. And from your perspective, Dr. Diata, who is a co-host of the 2026 UN Water Conference, what would be key elements that can help this compact to serve as an effective catalyst for the high-level commitments and engagement in action from member states during this UN Water Conference? So how can we influence and have a footprint also in the UN Water Conference with the compact? Over to you.
Thank you, Cecilia, for SWA invitation. I would like to speak in French, so we can switch if you have interpretation. Thank you for the invitation, because I know how you are working closely these 2-3 months since Stockholm, New York, and here, and for raising the voice of the UN Water Conference that Senegal is proud to host with the United Arab Emirates. Thank you very much for these invitations, and we will continue to work closely with SWA, but also UNICEF, to make this conference a huge success for water community. Merci pour cette invitation. En tout cas, pour nous, ce compact arrive à temps nommé. Nous sommes dans une perspective presque à 1 an et demi de la conférence des Nations Unies. Nous avons cette proposition d'un compact de haut niveau sur la sécurité de l'eau et la résilience. Nous pensons que c'est une initiative extrêmement pertinente, mais qui vient s'articuler par rapport à un agenda global qui se veut, qui donne une priorité à l'eau, à l'assainissement, particulièrement aux droits humains à l'eau. Quand vous regardez les thèmes que nous avons proposés pour la conférence de 2026, Water for People, mais nous insistons également sur les questions relatives aux droits humains à l'eau. Et c'est le lieu de saluer la mémoire de Katharina, qui s'est battue pendant des années pour faire de ce droit universel une réalité partout à travers le monde. Et que son travail doit être continu. Et la meilleure manière de reconnaître ce travail est de rendre hommage à l'excellent travail qu'elle a réalisé, c'est de se battre pour que ce droit universel à l'eau et à l'assainissement puisse prendre forme en Afrique, en Amérique latine, en Asie et partout à travers le monde. Je pense que c'était le mot que je voulais lancer dans un premier temps. Et maintenant, cette initiative est opportune et elle est essentielle pour créer un élan positif, mais également un élan politique nécessaire pour faire bouger les lignes. À mon sens, 3 éléments déterminants pour faire de ce compact un véritable catalyseur de leadership durable. Le premier aspect, c'est l'engagement politique. C'est l'appropriation par les plus hauts décideurs politiques de ce compact. Le deuxième élément, c'est un mécanisme de suivi crédible et transparent. Je pense que cela est important. Nous lançons partout les initiatives, mais nous devons suivre l'impact de ces initiatives sur le terrain et l'impact à travers les communautés. C'est un aspect extrêmement important. Et le dernier élément sur lequel je voulais insister, c'est sur une approche inclusive et multisectorielle. Nous savons tous la transversalité de l'eau. J'y reviendrai tantôt. En ce qui concerne l'élan politique nécessaire, je pense que des engagements nationaux mesurables reliés à ce cadre sont nécessaires. Au Sénégal, nous travaillons pour avoir un compact de l'eau. Nos collègues ici présents travaillent de façon hardie pour avoir un compact sur l'eau. Mais ces compacts nationaux doivent être articulés aussi par rapport à des cadres. C'est bien d'avoir des compacts à l'échelle de chaque pays, mais il faut l'articuler à des cadres. En Afrique, nous avons la vision africaine de l'eau, qui vient d'être adoptée à Dakar. Et cette vision va poser le cadre politique pour l'Afrique de 2026 à 2063. Il serait important que ces compacts que nous lançons puissent être articulés, en tout cas pour la région Afrique, à des cadres régionaux comme la vision africaine de l'eau, pilotée par le Conseil des ministres africains en charge de l'eau, mais également par l'Union africaine. Je pense que c'est un élément extrêmement important. L'adhésion explicite des chefs d'État est fondamentale pour rendre ce compact un succès. En ce qui concerne les mécanismes de suivi et de redevabilité, un mécanisme léger et rigoureux est nécessaire, mais il faut rendre compte des évolutions du niveau d'engagement. Par exemple, le Sénégal s'engage dans un compact. Quelle est l'incidence sur l'accès à l'eau, à l'assainissement des populations les plus démunies? Je pense que c'est extrêmement important. En ce qui concerne l'intersectorialité, ce compact gagnerait en légitimité si elle n'est pas uniquement portée par les chefs d'État. Il faut inclure les sociétés civiles, il faut inclure dans ces compacts le secteur privé, les jeunes, les femmes, les peuples indigènes qui s'approprient au niveau de chaque pays, quand un compact est lancé, que ces niveaux d'appropriation soient faits pour donner de la légitimité à ces compacts en termes de politique publique et d'incidence. Et enfin, pour terminer sur cette question, Cécilia, la solution transversale de l'eau pour la santé, pour l'économie, elle est connue. Donc nous devons travailler avec les autres secteurs hors du secteur de l'eau pour rendre ces compacts un succès. Par exemple, dans le domaine de la santé, il faut articuler ces compacts avec les stratégies nationales de santé, les stratégies environnementales. Comment dans les CDN même aller inscrire des actions spécifiques pour ces compacts. Je pense que cela est extrêmement important pour renforcer la sécurité alimentaire, mais également bâtir une résilience soutenue. En résumé, ce compact doit être à la fois un engagement politique, un cadre d'action et un espace d'alliance, bâtir des stratégies, des partenariats au service des résultats concrets pour les populations. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Dr. Diatta, for your intervention. And first of all, I thank you for explaining a little bit around the UN Water Conference and that you have decided now on interactive dialogues, where WASH sits squarely, of course, in the interactive dialogue Water for People. But I think we also are based on all the discussions we have had, we need to figure out how do we also engage in the other interactive dialogues, water for peace, water for climate, etc. But then, of course, thank you for acknowledging the work that Katarina has done on the human right to water and sanitation, and that will become an important part of the interactive dialogue #1. And then, thank you for mentioning the importance of monitoring the impact of the compacts. I think while we have political vision and commitments, of course, we need to move to action and implementation, and then we need to understand whether we are making a difference. So thank you for that. And then thank you also for sharing that Senegal is working toward a national compact with the vision of your president, but also that you ensure that it's going to be a multi-sectoral approach. So thank you for sharing. So I think we have now heard from representatives of the two main platforms that we have been discussing about, how we will take the compact forward, and where the outcomes of the SMM, and the high-level engagement that we have had, really can make a difference and the change around climate resilience. We are now at the stage where we are going to hear a message from the UN Secretary General's envoy on water, Ms. Retno Marsoudi, and she will speak to us on the importance of an integrated agenda, particularly looking forward to the UN Water Conference next year.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and participant colleagues, it is an honor for me to address you today through this video message. I welcome the commitment of Spain, Sanitation and Water for All, and UNICEF for organizing this meeting. This meeting is one of our collective efforts of advancing water at global level. It should also be part of collective efforts to align with other initiatives and accelerate commitments to better achieve SDG 6. Water and sanitation are not just a development goal. It is a prerequisite to human dignity, to human lives, economic growth, the life of the planet, as well as the future generation. Today, when the world is encountering significant and complex challenges, our water calls for stronger political commitment at the highest level. It is essential for all of us to be able to ensure the lives and dignity of humankind. Therefore, I appreciate the theme of this meeting on breaking silos, uniting political leadership for integrating water, sanitation, and climate action that has once again put water at the center of global political agenda. Excellencies, colleagues, political leadership at the highest level will ensure that water gains the attention it needs. When water gets the attention it deserves, it opens doors for all other aspects of development. Throughout this meeting, and even after we concluded the meeting, allow me to encourage all of us to foresee the importance of political leadership in water. First, it integrates effort and action to create greater impacts in water. Political leadership will give momentum to align water and sanitation strategies into climate action, disaster risk reduction, national development plan, women empowerment, and all other agenda. Second, political leadership ensures that commitment in water and sanitation are translated into real and tangible benefits to the people. It ensures that strategies and plans at global and national levels are being implemented on the ground based on scientific data and evidence. Third, political leadership will give push to efforts in closing financial gaps. Financing and investment in water sector can never be overlooked. While funding is needed to ensure water and sanitation for all is extremely high, World Bank estimated that in many countries, only less than 1% of the total GDP is dedicated for water and sanitation. In contrast, WWF estimated that the economic value of water and freshwater ecosystems is equivalent to 60% of the global GDP. Political commitment and leadership will provide guidance in boosting, financing water and sanitation, filling the gaps in the sector. Excellencies, colleagues, the three things I mentioned are in line with the AAA principle that I laid out as my work method, that is advocacy, alignment of efforts, and acceleration of action. Political leadership from countries at global and national level will help us achieve the global targets on water and sanitation through AAA, and most importantly, will ensure the lives and well-being of the people through water and sanitation. Looking ahead, we have multiple forums to be utilized in advancing and strengthening political leadership on water. Among others are the 2026 UN Water Conference in December next year, its preparation in Dakar in January next year, the World Water Forum in 2027, and the 2028 UN Water Conference. We should be able to connect and break silos between one milestone to another milestone. So let us advance on resilience and sustainable future for all through political commitment on water and sanitation. I thank you very much.
So I think we thank the special envoy, and if she would have been here, I'm sure she would have given us a AAA rating, because I think we are touching on all her priorities in this conversation. So thank you for that. Now I wanted to, see, this is the difficulty with having, I wanted to turn to you, Permanent Secretary Wehe. As chair of the Pacific Water and Wastewater Ministerial Forum in Solomon Islands, you have united 14 Pacific Island countries around shared priorities for water security and resilience. And in your view, how can the experiences and the priorities from the Pacific Island help to shape the implementation of the high-level Leaders Compact on water security and resilience, to also increase the region's leadership and recognition of future milestones, such as the 2026 UN Water Conference? Over to you.
Thank you, moderator. On behalf of the Minister of Solomon Islands on Water, I wish to firstly acknowledge the host, Spain. Thank you very much for your hospitality, and more so SWA, and UNICEF, of course, for supporting us, coming all the way from Solomon Islands to present our experiences. It's a 25 hours travel, and we are happy that we are given the opportunity to come and share our experiences. Thank you very much. Yes, as a chair of the Region Pacific Water Wastewater Association Forum and the PWWM Pacific Water Wastewater Ministerial, I'd say it's not an easy task to try and consolidate. It's not that easy to try and come up with a single song in every aspect of life. More so, I think the driver is water access, and accessibility to water is everybody's right. That our minister sees it very, very fundamental. And you know, in the region, we have a platform that is called the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association that is on a ministerial level. But we don't have, and for the first time in the many years past, that we have the Pacific Island Forum, which is composed of all our prime ministers, sit and talk about water after it's elevated to that level. So Solomon Islands is a bit emotional at that time in championing the process, where it's also very hard to have agendas or concerns raised in Pacific Island Forum. You have to go through a secretariat that screens every dot and make sure that the prime ministers are not bored on the agendas. As you can hear, and in these 2 days, I think it's timely that we have to share a common mind and a common priority, and having a compact as this is a way forward. It's just how we can maneuver through all the systems and get our agendas at the top level discussions is something that we need to find a way through. But if others can make it through, I believe that this forum can also do the same. Solomon Islands is yet to sign up on this pact. I'm not a minister, excuse me for that, but we are already communicating with our minister back home that we need to sign this pact with SWA. And with that, moderator, I'd say that if there is a political will, nothing is impossible. There is always be a way forward to achieving what we need for water security and water resilience. With that, I can also attest that climate change is not only a discussion topic in the region, but it's impacting every issues and every societies in the region. We lost islands, and we've seen it sinking, and so we need to come up with combined resolutions to be able to fight the common challenge in the Pacific. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vehe. Thank you so much for championing these discussions in the Prime Minister's Forum. And I think that seems to be a very challenging, but also very rewarding task to do. And then thank you for, of course, recognizing this compact. And then hopefully that can help you inspire these discussions in Solomon Islands and among the 14 countries. And then the last thing you said basically was, I think, where we all start is without political will. With political will, nothing is impossible. And I think that is a very important momentum and wisdom for all of us here. I think that's why we have heads of states initiatives and try to aspire to talk to the highest level of our political leadership, because we know they can make a difference for water sanitation, the integrated agenda, but also, of course, for people. So thank you so much. I now wanted to turn to the last speaker for this round. There will be, you can start to think about, there will be a fire chat. You will have 1 minute each after this intervention to go back to the initial opening session where we started to think about what would be our takeaways, what would be the one thing I take away from this meeting. So I wanted to each of you to think about one thing you take away from this meeting that has inspired you, that you will take forward. So now I wanted to turn to Balan Taham, who is the leader for the cooperative services in the African Minister Council of Water. How do you perceive the outcomes of this sector ministers' meeting in relation to AMCAN's mandate, particularly in advancing Africa's water vision towards achieving water security and universal access to water security and universal access to sanitation by 2063? Over to you.
Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you for the questions. Let me join other voices and to convey our condolences from AMCA to SWA on the demise of Dr. Katerina, who was a passionate advocate for human rights to water and sanitation. And also like to thank our hosts for their hospitality, and SWA and UNICEF for convening this event. Let me jump into the matter of the day. As you are aware, Africa has been guided by the Africa Water Vision 2025 for the last 25 years. This year marks the milestone year for the Africa Water Vision 2025. AMCA was mandated to formulate the Africa Water Vision 2063 and policy which will guide the continent for the next 38 years. So this is what AMCA has been working on, and even the executive secretary couldn't be here because he's at the African Union submitting the report for the STC's consideration. How we got there, this policy was adopted at the 14th ordinary session of the African Ministers' Council General Assembly on the 29th of September this year in Dakar, Senegal. There was a consensus on the vision of the policy, a water-secured and resilient Africa with self-sanitation for all, as bold and expressional. In addition, it raises the profile of value in water, digital intelligence, and sanitation economy. The vision seeks to deliver on a set of 8 vision statements, namely universal access to safely managed water and sanitation and hygiene services, sustainable water availability, a thriving blue economy, water governance system, water basin as shared natural asset, and resilient people economies and ecosystems, human capital development, integrated information system. These are the 8 areas that the policy tends to attend. The next step on the processes we have for the vision is the endorsement, which possibly will happen in February by the head of states at the summit of the AU. And the second step would be the formulation of the launch of the implementation plan 2026 to 2033 of the Africa Water Vision and Policy. Then AMCA intends to have an international conference to mobilize resources for the implementation of the vision, which will happen along the margins of AGM of the African Development Bank, sometimes in the mid-year next year. Back to your question, there's a clear alignment between the Africa Water Vision and the processes outcome of the SWA sector ministers meeting. The outcome can feed into the implementation plan of the vision in terms of co-convening political leaders on the continent. The SWA Head of States initiative is also one key initiative to incorporate the implementation of 2026 to 2033 of the Africa Water Vision and Policy. The Development Partners Coordination Platform is another opportunity. It's primarily is a mechanism for resource mobilization and alignment. This will be operationalized through the Partners Coordination Platform, which I believe SWA is one of the members. This will present a great opportunity to integrate the outcomes of this sector ministers' outcome and contribute to the framework. AMCA would like to see a stronger engagement of the SWA through the Partners Coordination Platform. I think SWA is actively engaged in this, but the engagement will continue. It's a continuous process. So for that is how AMCA and the outcome of the sector ministers can fit into the new vision 2063. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to hear about the new vision and the policy, obviously. The 8 integrated vision statements, I think they resonate to everything we have been talking about here during this day, and then these 2 days, and then that you are looking at the upcoming implementation plan, which is, of course, the critical part of realizing the vision and the policy. And then, of course, that you see alignment and are asking more engagement of SWA and on the partner consultation side, but also, I guess, on other issues too. So we are getting closer to the end of this fantastic panel. And as I already alluded to before, I wanted to ask each of you in 1 minute to share one of the main takeaways or lessons learned from this sector ministers meeting that has inspired you to take action. I think that was the request that we heard the first day in the morning. Now we are closing that loop. Can I turn to you first? Yeah, Vice President. Oh.
Muchas gracias, Cecilia. Recuerdo ayer cuando comenzó esta reunión, en la sesión de apertura, escuché unas palabras de alguien que siempre inspira, ¿no? Que es la presidenta Michelle Bachelet. En esa intervención lo que dijo es, de cada reunión, y en este caso una reunión como esta, donde nos reunimos ministros, ministras, delegados, autoridades, asociaciones, es importante salir con algo tangible, algo que podamos no solo contar, sino implementar, trabajar unidos, que la colaboración dé un resultado. Si hay algo que para mí es inspirador es que en esta reunión de Madrid lo hemos conseguido, y es el pacto. Con lo cual, si hay algo que quiero destacar hoy aquí es la capacidad de la acción colectiva, con una visión común y con un resultado, ¿no? Salir con un resultado concreto que es un pacto y con un claro llamamiento a que todos los países se sumen. Comparto también las reflexiones de mis compañeros en este papel. Se trata de países que nos sumemos, se trata de asociaciones, de instituciones, de sociedad civil, de los distintos agentes, el sector privado, que nos sumemos a este pacto y que lo hagamos posible. Por lo tanto, unidad, colaboración y resultados tangibles como es este pacto. Gracias.
Yes, please just pass the mic. I think that's a good idea. Yes, please go ahead.
Obrigado. Bom, eu acho que a grande lição que a gente leva, primeiro, é sempre enriquecedor estar participando desses ambientes, onde a gente consegue trazer as nossas experiências, ouvir as demais experiências, de como estão lidando com o desafio que é comum, seja na execução para aumentar a cobertura do atendimento no acesso à água de qualidade, mas também no desafio de tratamento de esgoto, preocupação com resíduo sólido, enfim. Esse é um componente importante, mas, e, sobretudo, buscar aí nesses 2 dias aqui, as tratativas para amadurecer as relações visando novas oportunidades de financiamento para garantir com que o que se planeja seja de fato concretizado. E eu acho que o mais importante de tudo é ter essa compreensão de que essa agenda não é estanque, ela não é uma agenda fixa nesses 2 dias de discussão que aconteceram aqui, coordenadas pela SWA. Ela tem desdobramentos e toda uma agenda de acompanhamento de como é que está a evolução desses compromissos. E é uma grande alegria de estar voltando aqui o Brasil também como signatário do Pacto. Muito obrigado.
Yes, please. Oh, sorry.
Thank you again, moderator. If I will be able to be frank about my country's feeling or here is around diversity. In the midst of diversity, we just need to be together to stand as a resilient global force. With that, I cannot underscore the significance of integration, integration, integration. That's the only way I believe we can be able to push through, but with champions politically driving the force. Together, we can achieve it. Thank you.
Dr. Diatta, yes?
Merci, Madame la modératrice. Ce serait une opportunité manquée si je ne parle pas des prochaines étapes de la préparation de la conférence rapidement, avant de donner mes key takeaways par rapport à cette réunion. Premièrement, après la validation des thèmes Water for Prosperity, Water for Planet, Water for Cooperation, Water in Multilateral Processes, Water Investment for Water, nous avons lancé le processus pour le co-chair des dialogues interactifs. Chaque dialogue sera co-présidé par un pays développé et un pays en développement. Nous allons tenir compte des balances des équilibres régionaux, évidemment, dans le cadre de ce processus. L'autre étape majeure, c'est la réunion préparatoire de haut niveau, le spécial envoyé, l'a rappelé tout à l'heure, de Dakar, 26 et 27 janvier 2026. Nous allons tenir cette réunion préparatoire pour lancer les travaux de dialogue interactif, 1 an avant la conférence, pour donner chance de construire des outcomes solides pour cette conférence. Maintenant, en ce qui concerne les key takeaways, je pense que je voulais souligner 3 points majeurs. Le premier point, c'est la nécessité d'aligner le compact sur les cadres nationaux existants et les priorités de haut niveau. Je pense que c'est extrêmement important. Le deuxième aspect, c'est de créer des passerelles institutionnelles entre eau, climat et finances pour bâtir une résilience solide. Et enfin, nous devons capitaliser aujourd'hui sur les échéances politiques majeures, régionales, mondiales, et maintenir l'attention au plus haut niveau politique. Je veux parler de la COP30 à Belém dans quelques semaines. Nous avons la revue du HLPF en juillet. Bien sûr, la réunion de Dakar est un bon momentum pour cela également, pour maintenir. Nous avons l'Assemblée générale de l'Union africaine. Cette année, pour la première fois, l'Union africaine a désigné 2026 comme étant année de l'eau en Afrique. Donc l'Assemblée générale des chefs d'État, 55 chefs d'État africains, portera sur l'eau. Donc c'est un momentum politique exceptionnel pour le continent africain où l'accès à l'eau est encore faible au niveau de certains États, pour accélérer le progrès à l'échelle de ces États. Et mon dernier point, ce serait, nous devons combiner pour cela, pour ce faire, leadership politique, cohérence stratégique et mécanismes de suivi et bâtir des alliances inclusives pour faire de ces compacts de véritables leviers. Mais ce dont nous avons besoin pour ces compacts, c'est de l'action. Le A de l'action, il faut agir ensemble. Le C, il faut coopérer. Le T, il faut une transformation systémique de nos structures, de nos cadres de gouvernance et de gestion des ressources en nous. Le I, il faut implémenter, mettre en œuvre des actions concrètes sur le terrain. Le O, il faut optimiser nos organisations, mais également travailler à optimiser les ressources que nous avons. Et le N, ne laissez personne en rade. Merci beaucoup.
Yes.
Thank you, Cecilia. For me, I would say with the launch of the Compact and the Africa Water Vision coming on stream and so many initiatives, I think the momentum in terms of advocacy, it's getting more momentum, especially this year. So, and I think this is what will take us to the next year, 2026, which we're hoping a lot of, to declare the water year. And for the first time, after 18 years in the African Union, water agenda is coming back to table. So I think we should work very hard and continuously to see that we make a great impact for a lasting change by next year. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. With this, I want to thank this fantastic panel. I am not trying to summarize what you have been speaking about. I think your intervention speaks for themselves, but I did take just a few words from your last interventions. So the compact brings action. Sharing is critical. We can do it together. There is momentum. We need to align compacts with national ambitions, systemic change, and lastly, integration, integration, and integration. So thank you, everybody.
Does she want to stay? Great. So, thank you for our wonderful panel.
I should have said over to you, Patrick.
Wow. So, in a few minutes, Her Excellency is going to come back again to close the meeting. But before she does, yeah, you're welcome to come and sit, Your Excellency, if you'd rather. That's great. Please have a seat, and we'll. But I just let me say a few words to the 253 of you who've come, to the 47 among you who are ministers and ministerial delegations from 33 countries. You know, you represent Sanitation and Water for All. You represent what Sanitation and Water for All is all about. And I've been introduced a couple of times. I've introduced myself. I'm the chair of SWA Steering Committee. But what does that mean? Sanitation and Water for All is above all a partnership. Our DNA is about collective action. We were set up to create collective action to drive forward the agenda of water justice. You know, this is our ministerial meeting. This is a meeting where we give the prime position to government. We have nearly 90 governments who are members. And all of you ministers here, you're the leaders we look to. But we also have external support agencies, civil society, research and learning, organizations, the private sector, and regulators and utilities. We are a multi-stakeholder partnership, and the multi-stakeholder partnership is democratic, and it elects, you have all elected representatives for your constituencies, and those representatives together make up our current steering committee of 27 people. And actually, just let me give an opportunity. If anyone here is from SWA steering committee, please stand up for a minute, just so that people can see some of your representatives. Serene, I've got my eye on you, and I know that Nick's at the back somewhere. Fiona, thank you, Anna, thank you for being here, and thank you for your service. And you know, it's been one of my, I would say, it's one of the things I'm proudest about is to be associated with this partnership and to have been the chair of this partnership for the last few years, and in some ways to represent all of you along with my steering committee colleagues. I believe in this passionately in this partnership. It was also, I'm deeply proud to have worked with and been friends with Katarina. And she sometimes even called me her boss, but you can imagine that we all knew how untrue that statement was. I don't think Katarina ever really had a boss. And I know that Katarina's been with us here as we have been together for these last few days. I know that Katarina would have been proud of this meeting and what we're achieving. I know that Katarina would be proud. When I think back to this sanitation water for all that I first really engaged with around 2015, and one of the things Katarina always said to me is the first time I met her, I made her cry because we had a steering committee meeting and we got into an argument about something and she was upset about it. But anyway, we became friends after that. But you know, SWA was not what it is now. It wasn't this movement engaging at the highest political level with ex-presidents in our Global Leadership Council coming and sharing 2 days with us, like our current global leader, Laura Chinchilla, who sent her warm greetings. She had to leave. But you know, she spent a day and a half with us. And I don't think, I've been in this sector for 30 years, the water and sanitation sector, the water resource management sector I joined 30 years ago, was not where we are now. You know, I've heard that throughout these 2 days. We are stepping up. We are stepping into the adaptation agenda. For a long time, we've struggled to find our place in the climate dialogue. But I think, again, through the work of SWA, through the creation of the water pavilions at the COPs, we're beginning to find our place. We're beginning to get traction. Because clearly, you cannot have adaptation, you cannot have resilience without dealing with water. So I know that Katarina would have been proud of all of us here, and of all the people who aren't here, all the other members of our partnership who prepared the ministerial delegations, who've been working behind the scenes. I know that Katarina would have been proud of the Secretariat. This whole meeting for the last 2 days has been organized by 16 incredibly dedicated people who have been working day and night for the last 6 months to put this on and to make sure that we had the amazing experience that we have and that we are going home with the actions that we're committing to. I know that Katarina would have been, yes, okay, let's clap for the Secretary. Oh, God. There goes that's okay, I don't need to translate anymore. I know that Katarina would have been proud of the support we've received from the government of Spain. You know, I know she made multiple visits here to have this happen. And I know she was so excited after the first couple of visits because of the support that your government was giving to this. And, you know, especially for those of us in the Anglophone world, I think there's a tendency to doom-monger at the moment. That's because, you know, we listen to one very loud voice that speaks our language all the time and that is all about the end of aid. It's all about the end of solidarity. It's all about turning its back on multilateralism. And for me, it was hugely inspiring to be hosted by a government from the rich world that is committing to multilateralism, that's committing to aid, that's committing to the fight against climate change. So thank you so much, Spain, for hosting us. And finally, thank you to our other co-host, UNICEF, and UNICEF, who's hosted our partnership for multiple years, sometimes I say UNICEF, who is a partner, UNICEF, who's a founding partner of SWA, and Cecilia's gone and sat down, but Cecilia, who's been a champion since she's been the head of WASH, and again, was someone who I know Katerina loved working with, and again, I think would have been very proud of where we are and where that relationship is. So, I think we should all be proud of ourselves. I think we should all give ourselves a clap. I'm going to say thank you to all of you, and I'm going to hand over to Her Excellency, the Vice President. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Patrick. Gracias. Me lo pones muy difícil. Buenas tardes y gracias, de verdad. Lo primero es palabras de agradecimiento a todos, todas las autoridades, ministros, ministras, viceministros, delegados, también asociaciones, sociedad civil que estáis hoy aquí y que habéis participado estos 2 días. Yo creo que gracias, por supuesto, a la Alianza para el Agua y el Saneamiento, trabajo extraordinario. Decía Patrick 6 meses, yo creo que llevan años trabajando y es verdad que era el momento de elevar esta agenda del agua. Gracias a ellos, gracias a UNICEF y gracias a Catarina de Alburquerque. Estoy convencida que, como dice Patrick, lo que estamos consiguiendo aquí es extraordinario y seguro que ella considera que su legado sigue más vivo que nunca en esta reunión de 2 días que hemos mantenido. Una reunión de compromiso, de colaboración, de dedicación y de trabajo intenso, donde confieso que para España ha sido un honor poder ser los anfitriones, una reunión que ha permitido fortalecer el liderazgo político, llegar a este pacto que hoy nos ha explicado extraordinariamente bien Cecilia, una acción conjunta donde hablar de agua y saneamiento es hablar de muchas más cosas. Está en el centro, en el corazón de tantas cosas que están pasando, pero también es hablar de clima, es hablar de salud, es hablar de resiliencia, es hablar de dignidad, es hablar de protección de vulnerables. Y esta reunión de Madrid, yo creo que hemos conseguido que Madrid sea mucho más que una sede. Ha sido un espacio de escucha, de diálogo, de colaboración y de unión. Y lo decía ayer, el primer día de esta sesión, creo que en un momento como el que estamos viviendo, hablar de unión, de colaboración, de escucha y de diálogo es maravilloso. Hablar de que estamos a tan solo 5 años de la Agenda 2030, de ver cómo se están cumpliendo los objetivos de ese acceso universal y seguro al agua, donde ese objetivo número 6 le queda camino por recorrer, pero seguro que los pasos que hemos dado aquí juntos van a permitir ir más rápido. Soy optimista y soy positiva. Hablamos de un pilar que es fundamental para la salud, para la equidad y para la prosperidad. Creo que reafirmar nuestro compromiso con los que más lo necesitan es fundamental y en este caso lo hemos dicho. Yo creo que las distintas sesiones han puesto de manifiesto la necesidad de trabajar especialmente para aquellas poblaciones más vulnerables, bien por ser rurales, bien por ser colectivos, mujeres, niños o personas más mayores. Ellos son los afectados, los que están en primera línea cuando hablamos también de seguridad o no hídrica o de las amenazas ante los riesgos del cambio climático. Y por eso yo creo que conectarlo, esa palabra integrar, integración, que decía Cecilia o nuestro compañero de Marshall Islands, yo creo que es muy importante, ¿no? Estamos hablando de un cambio climático que se intensifica, estamos hablando de una ciencia que nos lo lleva diciendo mucho tiempo. Esa palabra, la ciencia, siempre está ahí, hay que escucharla. Los gobiernos tenemos que escuchar a la ciencia. Nos dice ese grupo de expertos extraordinario, el IPCC, grupo de expertos intergubernamental, señalaban que hasta el año 2020, desde la última década, del 11 al 20, la temperatura media global fue la más alta. El año 2024 también ha sido el más cálido
y hemos superado 1,5 grados, ¿no? Todos son datos, es evidencia científica, pero es realidad que nos está pasando cada día. Precisamente hacía una intervención el secretario de las Naciones Unidas diciendo que no vamos a lograr contener el calentamiento global por encima de 1,5 grados en los próximos años. Yo creo que esta coletilla es importante, en los próximos años. Pero eso no puede desincentivar la acción. Lo que tiene que hacer es alertarnos para que los esfuerzos vayan más rápidos y sean más urgentes. Porque la ciencia lo que nos dice también es que cada fracción de grado adicional conlleva a mayores grados, con lo cual cada esfuerzo cuenta. También hay un estudio reciente que publicaba en Naciones Unidas sobre el impacto de esas inundaciones, sequías, olas de calor. El primer impacto, el que es irreversible, es las pérdidas humanas. Pero además también hay importantísimas pérdidas materiales. 2,3 billones de dólares anuales en el mundo, según el último informe de Naciones Unidas, provocado por esos eventos más frecuentes, intensos, devastadores, donde se pueden meter medidas de protección, de adaptación, trabajar juntos, primero por la acción, por mitigar, reducir las emisiones, ¿no? Eso tiene mucho que ver con tener que adaptarnos menos, pero también apostar por la adaptación. El agua está en el centro de los impactos y el agua también está en el centro de las soluciones. Por eso creo que la ciencia es nuestra brújula y debería seguir siéndolo siempre la brújula de la ciencia, pero tenemos también unas hojas de ruta maravillosas que hemos trabajado juntos, unidos. Esa es nuestra historia pasada, ese también legado que hay que construir con esa hoja de ruta, como es la Agenda 2030, como es el Acuerdo de París y como es también el marco de Sendai, que ahora está esa actualización para la reducción de los riesgos por los distintos desastres. Por eso trabajemos en esa resiliencia, en esa seguridad, en esa prosperidad compartida. Donde Madrid ha sido un espacio inclusivo, un espacio abierto para buscar soluciones, donde ha habido muchísimo liderazgo, esa palabra que hemos utilizado yo creo en este último panel, liderazgo político fundamental para conseguir esas transformaciones e integrar las políticas climáticas, las políticas de gestión de riesgos, la coordinación entre los distintos sectores, puede ser agricultura, medio ambiente, energía, todos ellos tienen que ver con la agenda del agua, pero también reforzar las capacidades y contar con todos y cada uno de los actores, los países, los gobiernos locales, las distintas administraciones, pero también las empresas, las grandes, las pequeñas y toda la sociedad civil en su conjunto. Hemos contado con ejemplos concretos, con soluciones, cooperaciones exitosas y, sobre todo, hemos contado, como decía antes, con un resultado real, tangible, que es este pacto de alto nivel de líderes sobre seguridad hídrica y resiliencia. Este Pacto de Madrid, que no es una simple declaración, es una apuesta clara, firme y decidida por hacer una visión compartida de la agenda del agua, del saneamiento, del clima, del desarrollo sostenible. Y estoy segura que el impacto de esta agenda será el reflejo de la apuesta por cada uno de los que estamos aquí. ¿Cómo seguimos cada día apostando por la agenda de agua? Nuestra voluntad política y de cada uno de los actores que formamos parte de esta conferencia y que vamos a ser actores en otras conferencias. La próxima cumbre de Belén, el año que viene la conferencia del agua y tantos eventos que compartimos juntos, donde, como decía, podemos ser embajadores de lo que hemos conseguido hoy aquí. Estaremos en Belén, estaremos en Abu Dhabi y yo creo que seremos capaces de conseguir que ese objetivo, ese ODS 6, sea una realidad en el año 2030. Y no por ser optimistas, sino porque esta sala desprende optimismo, cooperación, unidad y trabajo conjunto. Por eso también creo que durante estos días hemos hablado de algo que es fundamental, que tiene que ver con la financiación. Esa financiación que es clave y que es esencial. Y nosotros en España también apostamos por ella en esa cumbre de Sevilla, que yo creo que conocen, donde también lanzamos distintas iniciativas, la plataforma de acción de Sevilla, una plataforma donde ya hay más de 130 acciones distintas, donde el agua también es el centro de todas ellas, donde tenemos que buscar compromisos sólidos de inversión, instituciones también claras que marquen dentro de su agenda la prioridad por el agua, innovación financiera, mecanismos eficaces Hay muchos que funcionan, otros que hay que mejorar, pero sobre todo hay que aumentar la escala, por supuesto que sí. Y sin querer robar mucho más tiempo, sí creo que estos 2 días han sido y son importantes. Esta reunión ministerial, donde hemos reafirmado el compromiso con la cooperación, con el diálogo, con el multilateralismo, y precisamente lo hacemos un día antes, porque hoy acaba esta reunión, pero mañana es un día, yo diría que especial. Mañana es el 80 aniversario de las Naciones Unidas. Por eso, yo creo que es también esta reunión y esta cumbre es un día para reivindicar el multilateralismo, las Naciones Unidas, a todos y cada uno de los trabajadores de las Naciones Unidas, de las instituciones, su extraordinario trabajo en estos 80 años, porque cada persona que trabaja para las Naciones Unidas es imprescindible, es necesaria. Y creo que juntos tenemos que reforzar precisamente ese sistema de Naciones Unidas, como decía, ahora más que nunca. Un multilateralismo que nos protege, un multilateralismo que nos permite aprender, innovar, multiplicar, escalar, transformar, conectar gobiernos, instituciones financieras, sociedad civil, el sector privado, replicar éxitos y acelerar los resultados. Por eso hoy quiero hacer una llamada, una invitación, otra vez, como también lo hacía Patrick, como lo hacía Cecilia, a que otros líderes se sumen a este pacto, a que sumemos proyectos, planes, para que atraigamos inversiones y que los compromisos sean tangibles y, como decía, que los podamos ver en los años que están por venir. El Pacto de Madrid nos agota aquí, empieza un nuevo camino donde nuestro compromiso desde España es seguir liderando con hechos, seguir compartiendo experiencias, conocimientos, proponer soluciones, aprender también de todos los que estamos hoy aquí. Y me gustaría terminar con un mensaje de esperanza, ¿no? Porque esta sala y esta reunión ha sido una reunión de esperanza y para poner una sonrisa en un contexto complejo. Y es que el agua, en estos 2 días ha demostrado que el agua nos une, no nos divide, nos une. Y la cooperación no es solo el camino, es la respuesta necesaria. Juntos podemos caminar y garantizar un futuro justo, mucho más seguro y más sostenible para todos. Muchísimas gracias.